What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chaos, so welcome to a new special episode of Take It to the Table. As always, I'm joined by Mr. Rhymes and Big Man Rides. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hey, hey, thank you for having us.
Yes, yes,
What's
yes.
going on?
We obviously we're still in quarantine. This is a special quarantine edition, as of this recording, we are still on lockdown for an additional 3 weeks, guys. So I know you guys are everyone that's watching this from around the world. I hope you guys are keeping safe and doing what needs to be done in order to get through this craziness that's happening right now. But whilst we're on the level of craziness, if you have been living under a rock the past couple of days, there has been it's been crazy times in WWE, and that's obviously involving people's jobs, really. It's no real time to make fun of of what's happened, and that's because a lot of people have either been released or been furloughed in WWE. Yes, pretty dark times. Pretty much one of the darkest times in recent history, in recent WWE history. Let alone.
Right.
If you guys haven't even heard about who have been released, it's over 26 people so far, I believe. That's have been released all in the space of a few hours. I'll go through the list of those people quickly. So it was Kurt Angle, Rusev, Drake Maverick, Zack Ryder, Kurt Hawkins, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, Heath Slater, Eric Young, Rowan, Sarah Logan, No Way Jose, Mike Chioda, Mike Kanellis, Maria Kanellis, EC3, Aiden English, Leo Rush, Primo, and Epico. Gee, it was almost never ending, was it?
That's just the superstars, right?
That's just the superstars alone. The producers, which I will get to after in shortly. Um, yeah, what are your thoughts on that situation, guys? Like where were you, and what was going through your minds when you saw this crazy rush of people getting released because of the current pandemic going on now?
Boy, I was chilling. I think we were online. I think we were just on the PlayStation side. We were just
Yeah.
chilling, and then the news came up. I don't know if you said something or I saw it, but it just popped up. And at first, it kicked off with like I think 6 people, and then that list just kept growing and growing, and it was like the lottery. Like who's it going to be next? And it was just. I get it. Obviously, there were some people who you'd see and you're like, okay, they haven't been on TV in years, or like fine, but there were some real shockers, man. Some real shockers. Like, I was really surprised at Kurt Angle's release. I get it; he's not really on the active roster, but even just being a part of a Legends contract, I don't understand the logic unless he was just demanding too much. I don't know. The club was a big shocker for me because they were they were just at WrestleMania, and they're a big part of AJ Styles' brand.
Yes.
You know, there were some others who I was just sad to see go on a personal level, regardless of whether they've been active or not. Like I've always thought people like Heath Slater, for example, were entertaining, even though he's never been a main event guy. It'd be a shame to see him go. Leo Rush, who was just kind of starting to break away from all the Lashley stuff and do his own thing on NXT and 205.
Yeah.
Drake as well, who was going into the kind of the wrestling singles career as opposed to what he was doing before. I don't know. It's just a shame, really. It's yeah. And Mike Chioda, flipping hell, been there since before I was born.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
one of the oldest referees going, and one of the ones that I remember as a kid. Just like it would be like referee Mike Chioda, and it's like and even on even when you used to play the games, and it would have him on there as a render, or even on like I think it was the classic Xbox, and on the game WWE or WF Raw 2, whichever one that was, and you got to choose the referees for your match, and Mike Chioda was the best ref. He would count fast.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yes.
And then it would be like Tim. So it would be like Tim White would count slow, like El Hebner was like a all around, and there was another ref, and then there was Mike Chioda. He was a fast count.
Yes, 100. I remember that. Yeah. That was on Raw 2 and on the original Xbox. Yeah, that was crazy. It's the same with Mike Chioda. It was the only ones I knew was either him or what's the other classic one? I've got his name now.
Earl Hebner.
Earl Hebner. Yes. Yeah. Those are the only two that were very, synonymous with WWE
Right.
matches.
I mean, even when you like think of like so for the superstars, yeah, so like Ryan said, the club shocked me only because they were just at WrestleMania. I think I was just watching one of my shows or something like that. I can't even remember which one. But my little brother, he just sent me a screenshot, and he's like, the screenshot he sent me was the first one that came up, and it was literally like 2 minutes after it had been published, and it was the one that just said Kurt Angle and other superstars have just been released.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, Kurt Angle's been released, and then just after that, you sent me, you put it in the group or whatnot, and you guys were like, oh yeah, so these superstars have been released and stuff. So I'm just like looking at that list, and then it was like, oh, okay then. So I was confused because it's like I didn't realize Kurt Angle was still like, I didn't think that Hall of Famers or anything like that counted as having a contract. I thought it was like we go into the Hall of Fame and then you're kind of like just like an ambassador, kind of like what the Belly Twins are and things like that.
He's actually also a producer as well.
Oh, is he?
Produces some matches, yeah.
Yes, he's also a producer.
I don't know if he's officially labeled as a producer that got released, as opposed to someone like Storm or whoever, but yeah, he's mentioned in interviews that he's produced matches, worked with wrestlers as well. So definitely under contract in some capacity.
Right.
Another person who I completely forgot, which is probably the biggest release, even though many speculate and say that he wanted the release, is Rusev, man. Flipping out, like, talk about a talent.
Oh yeah, right.
And you keep Lana, like, it's just no offense, but I don't know.
That comes off very Dean Ambrose-ish, because like, but fair enough, he ran out his contract, so that's different. But the whole thing of like, so when you keep one on, but then let the other one go, I guess in this case it would be him and Renee Young. But with the Rusev, because with the Rusev thing, he genuinely was. I think did he want like, he was in contract negotiations, and because they couldn't reach an agreement, right? So that's why he's not been on TV since the whole storyline, right?
I think so. The last thing I remember is that he wanted to be released, and then the storyline with Lashley started. So I don't know if there's been any updates with how he feels about his contract, but the last major thing he was unhappy with was before the whole Lashley storyline started, and that was him returning after that. So obviously they didn't really make him too happy on the return. So I don't know. Can't really speak on that, man.
Right, but then
it's a shame though.
Right, it's just one of the things where, so he gets released. Oh yeah, so Kurt Angle, Shaka, just because of his name, but then he wasn't really on TV anyway, so it's kind of like, oh, okay, well, let that one pass. Rusev, it was like, oh, that, okay,
real.
That's that. I feel like that's like a blow. The club only a blow because they're involved with AJ Styles at the current, and they're kind of helping his character. I'm not gonna lie, I had to kind of do a double take, or had to try to remember who Drake Maverick was.
Oh wow!
Only because that for me, although I watched WWE, that for me is not a name or a household name to me yet.
He has been part of major stuff. Like he was with AOP, he was with.
See, when he was with them,
General Manager Live on 205. General Manager on that show.
Manager thing, yeah, he was partially with that, and then obviously the craziness with who was he stalking? No, the
24/7 championship. He was chasing out R-Truth. He had an angle there. Yeah, he actually won the title.
Yeah. See, this is the thing. It's that thing where when I can recall all of what you're saying, and I remember someone being all of that. But when people do that thing where they'll say, "Oh yeah, so the or if I'm going to say something to you and I'm going to be like, oh yeah, so there's this guy going for the 24/7 title, but he's what's his name? What's his name? So it'll be like that.
Yeah. You just know him by face, but not by name.
Yeah, so I can tell you all the stuff that he's done and whatnot. And I think he even had like a couple of skits on 205 Live at the London tapings. But when someone has to say what's his name, and I'm like, oh, it's something. Yeah. But then I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch his social media video yet. And the only reason I haven't watched it yet is because I'm seeing that even people who I know to have like no emotion or the stands that I know that kind of go ham on people for what they say on thing. Even they're kind of like, yeah, it's like a kind of like a heart wrenching video and stuff. So I was like, okay, well, I'll watch that, I guess, when I am ready, so to speak. And then so that side is like Mike and Maria. I think Mike also was asking for his release recently, so
time ago.
that was expected.
Yeah.
What's it called? One that was interesting for me was Sarah Logan, because we were just talking about her for a thing. We were talking about how I was saying that, you know, Road Dogg says that she's like hidden potential, she's gonna go far and all that sort of stuff, and then to be like, oh well, she was like released, and it's just like, oh well, you know, she couldn't have been that great in the first place then, but you know.
It's like they kind of knew partially because the way she was written off TV on. Wait, do you guys ever seen Raw?
I saw bits and pieces of it. I didn't watch it all the way through.
Okay, well, yeah. Well, anyway, it's I'm not going to go into it too much anyway, but it's the way that the seeds were kind of planted. If you do eventually watch it, I don't know.
I saw that bit.
Okay, fair enough.
So she had the
seeds
like,
planted,
right?
for what exactly? Explain it again.
Say.
Oh wait, did Baszler take her out and mash up her hand?
She like.
That?
Oh,
yeah,
well, she stomped
I didn't see it. I read it, but yeah. So basically, took her out.
Yeah. It was a way to like. Okay. So, and that obviously that happened way before anyone knew about this because this stuff was going to happen. So I don't know. It's
it's one of those coincidence things, kind of like what you were saying about. I mean, look, the club didn't get taken out by the Undertaker because they knew they were getting released, but just coincidentally, it works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the same with the Sarah Logan thing. Yeah. I don't think everybody else or many others got that, what do you call it, that opportunity, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. I think Drake still has a taped match coming up because he's been advertising that.
Yeah.
Leo Rush was out of nowhere.
It's so weird. Like
Leo Rush was out of nowhere. What's his name? No Way Jose. I think he competed on this week's Raw as well.
Yeah, you got squashed by Bobby Lashley. Yep.
Oh, okay.
It's just
so
I honestly didn't even realize that No Way Jose was still having matches. I thought he was.
It's always squash matches. His dance to the ring is probably longer than the match, man. Did you guys see I sent you guys a message where it was the full transcript of what Vince actually said to the superstars before individuals were released?
Yes.
So I don't know if you want to share that or something, because that was
I could bring that up. So
check the second one I sent. Second one has got more details.
I got it here. So yeah, this as Ryan said, Vince McMahon basically sent a video to all the employees saying the following before the announcement of each individual release happened. So this happened a few hours before all that stuff. So he said, "Thank you all for joining me today. First and foremost, I hope that you and your families are safe. What we're going through today is unprecedented, and there is no doubt that these are challenging times for everyone. Given the adverse effects of the coronavirus and the resulting financial recession, WWE, like so many companies, have to decrease operating expenses. Effective immediately, we are reducing executive and board member compensation, decreasing talent expenses, cutting third-party staffing and consulting, and improving our cash flow by delaying the production of a new HQ for at least 6 months. Despite all these measures, given the uncertainty that we are facing today, unfortunately, we have to temporarily reduce headcount. As such, a number of WWE employees will be furloughed from the company today. At the close of my remarks, employees will receive a communication detailing their individual situations. More specifically, those impacted by the furloughs will receive a text message from HR with specific information for their next steps. These are not easy decisions, but reflect the reality of the environment that we're working in today. We live in a world of troubled times. I'm confident as a company, and most importantly, confident in you as individual employees. We will pull through these tough times and come back to work and make life better than it's ever been. Thank you."
Yikes!
That is absolutely crazy. And then obviously everyone was just waiting by the phone and as
the panic after hearing something like that.
Yeah,
if you're an employee, especially if you know you're an employee that isn't a big name, or like you already know that you're probably one of the ones at risk because you're not stupid. The fear, man.
110%.
Like, I mean, and they were doing it bit by bit. Like, for example, when they released Hawkins, Ryder wasn't released for a while. Like Ryder got it later.
One of the last
like
ones.
it's just very peak, man.
It was definitely
like we said, I mean, there are some people who are probably in a way kind of relieved.
Yes.
People like Epica and Primo and maybe Rusev and people that wanted their release, but you know, for the most part, it's a lot of heartbreak, man. You 100%. Talked about Drake doing that video. There was a couple videos. Heath Slater did a really, I wouldn't say emotional, like it wasn't crying, but it was a very touching video. Someone else did one as well. No Way Jose.
Yeah.
It's a shame, though. Man. It's a shame.
Anderson, he didn't give a shit. He put up a video of him going back to Japan, so I think he's pretty much sorted. He's going back to Japan.
Anderson, right?
Yeah, Craig Anderson, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
Cool.
Although I'm curious, I mean, what's the deal? Like, do they have that 90-day no compete, or does the contract still run out? So
I think they do. I'm not really sure because obviously everyone's comparing it to what with the Revival, because if you look in the writing, they said with immediate release. So obviously WWE and the Revival work together in order for them to go from now, and then it could work anywhere immediately, like similar to Matt Hardy. With this one, I'm pretty sure. I think they have a 90-day clause. So yeah,
I think Hardy's contract ran out.
Sorry. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So it's similar.
Hardy's contract ran out.
Yeah.
Revival, I don't know if theirs ran out.
No, it didn't.
No,
there's
but
they
got
immediately.
Released,
yeah. So they don't have the 90-day clause. These guys, most of them they were within contracts, so they just got released. So I think they do unfortunately have that 90-day clause. And even if they didn't, there's hardly any company right now that would actually hire them right now. As much as these guys will bring in a lot of interest to their product, to their company, wherever they go. Obviously, I'm talking about AEW specifically. They're not going to risk going up because they're relatively new. They're just in the same boat as everyone else. They can't risk recruiting new people until they see what's going on with the current pandemic. So they are completely they're completely deserted. They are effectively jobless and they don't know what's going to happen next. No one knows what's up there. So that's why it hit home with everyone the most, because they obviously there's other options, but it's still right now there's effectively no guaranteed paycheck coming in right now.
For the ones that are released, then that's unfortunate.
It's crazy. And then obviously when everything subsided, when the releases came to a halt eventually, I saw people online saying, "Oh, why wasn't this person released? Why wasn't that person released?" At the end of the day, no one really should have been released. You shouldn't really be gagging for someone to leave. Obviously, there's some questionable ones, but you should really, this especially when more news came out, the fact that that this wasn't WWE didn't have to do this. This was effectively just a choice. They are not running low on money or anything like that. They just did this out of choice, just to cover their backs. Just because.
Can you expand on that? Like, what do you mean exactly?
So basically, it's mainly to do with the part of it is basically the XFL. So when obviously that was currently going, that was active at about a month before this pandemic happened. So because that obviously now the pandemic has happened, they had to basically go bankrupt, lay off everybody, but secretly WWE had 26% stake in XFL. 26% is quite a lot. So basically, as soon as that went under, they lost a lot of money, and then they're trying to say because they've lost a lot of that, they're trying to make that back by cutting people, reducing headcount, as what we've seen. But the fact is that they apparently, after all this cutting, they said they're going to be saving around $4 million. All this amount of people, that doesn't really amount to $4 million. Like, you're not saving $4 million. Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of these people, their contracts outweigh $4 million as a whole. You see what I'm saying? Then obviously, not only that, but it's my mind's gone blank. Not only that, but they also got the TV deals as well. They're still getting constant revenue from Saudi Arabia as well. They just basically, they said after all this, apparently someone looked into their financials, and by the end of the year, the WWE will save over $1 billion.
Save.
Yeah, they will save $1 billion. So there's no real reason for them to delay. They're essentially safe, especially since they've been effectively been called an essential business, according to the government of the U.S. of Florida. So they can still they can still garner revenue, however possible. And like I said, they got the lucrative Fox deal, they got the Saudi Arabia money, they still got merchandising, they got the WWE network. They're not in the red. So there was actually no reason for them to actually release all these people. It was.
So then why?
Exactly my point. It's well, not exactly my point, but it's exactly why did they do it? It was actually effective. When you look into their financials, there was absolutely no reason why they did it. They're just trying to get as much money as possible instead of giving it out. That's what businesses usually do. They rather spend money than actually they rather take in money than spend. So they're trying to obviously give spend as little as possible since they got so much. Because a lot of these contracts as well, I'm pretty sure like with the club, Kurt Angle, all these people, they're quite lucrative, but they're not what's the word I'm looking for? They're not like valuable enough. Like they're not up to like where Brock Lesnar is or Goldberg. You see what I'm saying? They can rely on them ones. So these guys are actually effectively expendable.
Well, funny thing you say that because I saw a lot of tweets, probably just by angry fans with emotions, to be fair. But this will never happen. But if you let someone like Goldberg go, you essentially do the exact same thing as releasing all those superstars with just one person.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I'm not sure. Obviously, that's not accurate. I can't say how accurate that is, but probably close enough. I'm sure Goldberg is probably worth a few superstars 100%. In terms of contract. 100%. Same with Lesnar. Mm-hmm. I just think they could have. We've already kind of clarified that they didn't have to do it, but let's just say they did. I feel like there were other ways they could have gone about it. Yeah. I know we're not really supposed to be sitting here picking, they should have released that person instead, but
right.
You got to think of the business as a whole. You got to think of people's livelihood. You got to think of the fans.
You could have easily furloughed them. Like, all right, if anything, unfortunately, we won't be able to pay you for a couple months, but as soon as we're able to, you can instantly come back in. Don't instantly release them. Just put them on furlough. Sure, you might maybe just cut their wages maybe down to 10, 20%, as other major business organizations are doing. Like everyone, all the football teams are doing it. All the NBA teams, they're taking 70, 80% wage cuts just because the respective teams can't always supply the $250,000 a week wages because they're not getting any people coming through the door. There's no merch. There's not good enough merchandising. Everything. So they could have done that. They didn't have to properly cut them. So that's why this is really dark and just for
mad. Better words. And I read that the furlough cuts ain't even that mad. Like can't confirm the accuracy, but I read that those who are furloughed are not even getting an 80% decrease. They're just getting cut down to 80%. So that's just a 20% decrease, really. Like that's, you see what I mean? Really? Like it's not even.
Oh, what in WWE or you mean as?
Yeah. Specifically talking about WWE, but this is like in regards to the out of ring stuff, basically, like right?
Yeah, the production team.
Again, I don't know how accurate this is. This is just one of the first things I read.
Yeah,
the wages have been cut down to 80% as opposed to taking 80%.
I'm not saying that they're invaluable, but what makes them so special more than your own people that's that's working 360 days a year,
putting their bodies on the
line. Plus, it's what makes them so special. I mean, it's really questionable. I mean, it's glad that they furloughed those producers. I mean, no one needs to lose their jobs, but like, why put them above your own wrestlers that are basically putting the butts in the seats? Them guys are just behind the scenes. No one watches them. But yeah, it's completely insane, and it's crazy.
I mean, I wouldn't throw shade at those people. They're probably just as important from a business aspect. But
yeah, of course.
I get what you mean. From our perspective, in terms of bums in seats in front of the TV, we are seeing the Kurt Angles, the Rusevs, the Heath Slayers, not Jenny the writer or whatever. So I get it. But it's all a business, I suppose. I think just as much as the wrestlers getting released to people backstage, it's just an unfortunate situation all around, and it sucks, man. And especially during this time, man. Especially during this time.
This is like a hard one.
It's
a hard
peak,
pill to
man.
swallow.
Yeah, I'd like to believe that despite the pandemic, the other companies will be able to pick people up, whether it's AEW or whatever, even if it's like, right, we've signed you, but we don't know what we're doing with you for the next few months. Who knows? But who can really say, man? Who can really say?
Yeah, everything is literally up in the air. No one knows when things are going to go back to normal. I mean, or in not go back to normal, but some form of normality. Trump has announced there's a 3-phase thing going on that they're looking to implement. So the first things that will be open, that depending on what state they're in, certain sporting stadiums and bars and cinemas, they will be open to the public, but there's gonna you can't have a group more than 10. There's gonna be social. There's always gonna be spacing between. So if you're in the cinema, not only a certain amount of people can be in a row or behind. All this kind.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy, and but like I say, it all depends on what state they're in, and if certain states have hit their peak and then it plateaus. But it's a certain uncertainty, and like you said, not everyone was taking it seriously yet, but now it's really affecting everyone's lives, and this is pretty much one of the major things, or major companies that is really affected. I mean, yeah, every news outlet picked this up, even people that's not even everyday wrestling fans that we are. Everyone knows Kurt Angle. You know what I'm saying? So obviously that's what I picked.
I sent the release information to I tweeted it or something, and 2 people come back at me and they said the only person I know is Kurt Angle. Yeah. So you can see these are people that have only watched back in the 2000s or whatever. But yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, whether you know them or not, you just know that that's a whole bunch of names. That's a bunch of people, man.
Which one hit you the most? If it's not Kurt Angle.
Yeah, fair question. I was gonna ask which one shocked you guys and which one disappointed you the most.
Disappointed, I would say the most disappointed was I'm gonna say Leo Rush, only because I'm a fan.
Yes.
But the only thing is about Leo Rush is that he, from what I've seen in the past, I feel like the unfortunate thing is that people read him wrong, so therefore he gets the title of being problematic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but
I was thinking that too.
But I don't. But I'm just gonna kind of throw this out there. That whole situation he had when Emma got released,
yes,
and whatnot, and then he tweeted something like, "Oh, guess that goes to show that you really can't be ready for Oscar," or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I kid you not, the entire wrestling community, including the wrestlers and whatnot, dragged him for filth for that. Yeah. And I think he got taken off of TV and everything.
Yeah.
But see, the comic in me understood what he meant, because that's Oscar's gimmick. The idea is that you're not ready for that kind of thing. But it's only because I guess a job was lost or whatever. So it was just kind of really taken out of context. And so from then on, it's almost like everything that he does or anything that he has done, everyone just reads him wrong, and he gets labeled as being problematic for it. And then it's I guess lately I thought I wasn't here for him getting teamed up with Lashley, but I was all here for the exposure. So I would just let him ride that train. Once that ended, he goes into 205 Live. He's been cruiserweight champion. He had a nice little run on there, a couple of matches and stuff. And they kept teasing at him doing stuff with there's this guy on there. I think his name's Swerve. Isaiah Scott.
Yeah, the black guy. Yeah.
Again, a fan of him as well. And they've been hinting at just collaborations or things between those two. So I've been really kind of riding that train and seeing where that goes. Until it's almost he was in the first list as well. It wasn't even you're saying that Zack Ryder came out a few lists after Kurt Hawkins and stuff. No, Leo Rush was in the first one that I saw. It was Kurt, it was Kurt Angle, the Club, and Leo Rush and someone else. And I was that. Oh my god! And another person that I'm mentioning that didn't really shock me, but I've heard people talking about him going to AEW for some reason recently. But EC3,
Yeah, EC3 was there.
He was also
on
there. He was on the first list.
Yeah, that was.
I think his career ended when he left NXT. Let's be real.
Of course, yeah.
Right, yeah.
The reason it hit
I don't remember anything that he's done that was substantial. I know his big moment was on Moment of Bliss. Nothing came from that, and then it was just down the hill from there. I think he's been on Main Event, even if that. There was one weird segment where he was in an elevator with everyone talking about the 24/7 championship.
Yeah. And he always had a red cup. Yeah.
It was just weird. And for someone who didn't watch him in NXT, I didn't really get EC3. I probably get more EC3 on playing 2K than watching the show. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just
yeah.
You know, so it was a shame. I didn't really get to know him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason,
but then it's like I wasn't like I wasn't shocked to hear that he had been released because like I said, for some reason a lot on my wrestling account I kept seeing people that are posting about like EC3 going to AEW or EC3 like getting released or blah blah, and I'm just like, but why does everyone keep talking about that? Because as far as I knew, I didn't even know he was still on TV. I thought he was already released, and then he was in the first list, so I was like, oh okay, so I guess he still was under contract and stuff, but it's unfortunate to see him go because I feel like there was room for him, but he's going to be gone already. And so so for me, Leo Rush was my most disappointing one. What about you guys?
For me, I would say that for EC3, the reason being is because he could have had a similar story to how basically Drew McIntyre had, because he was there for one run. Was it Derek Bateman? Whatever, I can't remember what his name was.
Yeah, Derek Bateman.
That's who I remember.
Yeah, and it was completely horrendous. And then he got jacked up, went to TNA, was basically the face of TNA for a lengthy amount of time. Had great matches there. And then he had this resurgence. The hype behind him when you saw him in the NXT crowd before he eventually debuted. Everyone knew who he was. He went to NXT, did his thing. And I think he got taken out of NXT way too prematurely. He was just getting like this going up levels. I don't think he had a chance at the NXT Championship. I think he may have, but I think they could have done a bit more with him. And then they just plucked him from NXT for some dumb reason. And then like the guy's basically the perfect ingredients for Vince McMahon. The guy's jacked. The guy's got charisma. He knows how to talk on the mic. But for some reason, Vince didn't know what to do with him. I just don't fucking get it, and it just really pisses me off because the guy has so much potential. And I hope when everything is, back to normal and stuff, he goes to something. He deserves the big time. So I think he'd be perfect for AEW. But it was just so frustrating that they just blew it with him, and I don't know why. It's where I can't him. When it comes to talking Jericho, I can't wait for him, and I can't wait for Rusev. Them two, I can't wait to hear
Rusev.
I'll be a sit down and listen to, man.
110%.
It's funny. I think Rhymes said something about Leo Rush back in the day when he made a comment on Emma's release. Well, I think the same thing has happened. Obviously, a bit of a different dynamic, but you tell me what you guys think, and then I'll get into my shocks and disappointments. Rusev gets released, and then Lana, still in Lana character, tweets. And you saw that, right?
Yes,
the little dig at Rusev, like saying that this is what Rusev really is like. And I'm just, even the responses, the immediate responses were like, he's been fired in real life. You can drop the storyline now. Why are you still doing this? And it's just like,
like
why?
It's a mixed
like
bag with that. In a way, she's trying to keep kayfabe alive, but at the same time, it's kind of tasteless. Doing it against your own husband.
Because it's a serious issue, man.
Yeah, against your it is a serious issue.
But you guys know Lana though. Like Lana is clearly she's the one that if the attention isn't on her, then she's gonna do something that's gonna make the attention be on her. Even if it doesn't need to be on her, it's gonna be on her.
If there was a crowd the next time on Raw, she would get nuclear heat.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
She needs to humble herself, man.
But again, but again, she's just kind of doing that thing where she's just playing into she's attention seeking by not attention seeking, or she's just taken the focus off of Rusev, the one who got fired, and made it about her because she's the one that commented on it. And then this is a thing where because she commented on it and because she's his wife, and then because she's doing it in character, but then it's like we're not dumb kind of thing.
Yeah.
it was just kind of like it's just a whole thing to unpack and whatnot. So it was just like there was no reason to do it, but she still did it. Now people are talking about her, so it was just like it was just it is what it is. Because she's the same person that she's gonna go and comment on him being released and stuff like that. But then she's also going to be one of the people leading the charge on Ronda Rousey's comments. So where does she draw the line here?
Yeah.
It's just tension. I think you hit the nail on the head. That's what it is. Attention don't have logic. You just want it, you know? Yeah. So, but in regards to my feelings, like I said, shockers, Kurt Angle, the club, Rusev, disappointments. I'll be real, I had a bit of a soft spot for Heath, man. I've always, from 3MB days, I've always liked it. And Leo Rush, because, like I said, he kind of broke away from the Lashley thing and was doing really well. Even on social media, is cool. So I'm a fan of his. Another shocker, not necessarily a disappointment, was Rowan. Just because he was...
He's been prominent.
Relevant.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Well, say what you will about him in terms of your feelings about him, but he wasn't on the sidelines. He was very active on the main roster.
Yeah.
Like very recent.
He was better put up than Harper. He was more.
Yeah. So more used than Harper. Yes. So his takeout was equivalent to the club's takeout to me in regards to relevancy. We gotta go through the list again. Who else was there?
So there was, like I said, Zack Ryder, Kurt Hawkins.
Oh yeah, so for example, Zack Ryder, I get it, I get it. You don't even need to go into it, but he's just had longevity and survival.
15 years, you know.
I mean,
right? Like, he has survived every single release list. And when you know releases are coming up, and it's like
you always expected him to be
on the list, and he's never on the list.
He JTG'd the situation for the longest time, bro. But you know what? The thing about him that bugs me the most is this whole social media boom and WWE. He started it. That was him. Everything that WWE's model is now, Zach was doing before. And I get it. There's going to be some individuals that are ahead of the time.
Yeah.
But credit him for that, man.
110%.
They didn't rate him at all.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I remember Zach ever doing, aside from winning the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania and then losing it the next night, was him getting dumped on a wheelchair, and I don't know how he sold it and didn't break his legs, but you remember when Kane pushed him?
Yeah.
That's it.
And he got embarrassed by Eve Torres at WrestleMania.
And you know what? That will be the next thing, if you got time, that I want to ask you guys. Maybe we run through these superstars and talk about our favorite memories of them. But Zack Ryder was a shocker. I think just the team. The team wasn't really used well, Ryder and Hawkins, but they did win at WrestleMania, just gone.
Yeah.
Gosh, the landscape was so different just a year ago, isn't it?
Yes.
Think about WrestleMania and just everything.
Yeah.
Again, Sarah Logan, like what you guys said, with Road Dogg being such a fan and her just kind of recently coming back to the main roster and stuff. I don't know, man. It's hard not to have that feeling, oh, how come that person's still there? I don't want to think like that because it's real life.
Yeah.
But
you
know what I mean? Like, there's some people
that think like that.
You can't help it.
Yeah, there's some people that are down like, wait, so this person's still here, but you dropped this person that you used yesterday. Like, it don't make it don't make sense, man. Who else was there, man?
There was Rowan, Eric Young. His one was also a downfall. Similar to EC3, he had so much potential with Sanity.
So these are guys that I'd see on the odd occasion that I'd watch main event or something like that, and they put on great matches, but
that's what I'm saying.
It amounted to nothing because it was on main event as opposed to Raw or SmackDown. I think we kind of get the drift. Do you think there'll be any more?
They said there's more to come. They have said there will be more to come.
Do we even get into that discussion about who is it? I don't think it's even nice to have a discussion about who we think is
it's
going,
a bit dark.
Man.
Like you kind of anticipating it.
All right. Memories and moments of the guys that are no longer with us. Like that's more positive.
All right. So let's start with Kurt Angle then. What about you, Mr. Rams? What's your favorite moment of Kurt Angle?
Oh, me? Okay. Favorite Kurt Angle moment? I can't really say I have a moment. I'm just going to more or less say like eras. And for me, I hate to mention the name, but anything that he was doing with Chris Benoit was gold.
100%. I agree.
So I feel like those were like Kurt Angle's better days. That was like some of his best wrestling matches. Because right now I'm going through the pay-per-views starting from WrestleMania 17, which is when I came into wrestling. But right now I'm at Unforgiven 2002, and he had a one-on-one match against Benoit again. And given that they had won that WrestleMania 17 anyway, but then they've had like little encounters here and there since then. But then to get to Unforgiven, where now it's essentially been a year since, or almost a year since their encounter, and it's like when you kind of see they get together, and then it's just gold, and then they were teaming together at the Survivor Series that's going to follow this pay-per-view for the tag team titles, something like that. So yeah, I'm gonna say era-wise, anything that he was doing in like them sort of eras when he was in Benoit was my favorite times with Kurt Angle. Favorite memorable thing he done was how he decided to do a moonsault from the top of the cage and just land flat on the ring. How he did that.
Took out his knees, you know. I saw him talking about that recently. Took out his knee.
But like how he just wanted to just I think any superstar wanted to take that bump of jumping from the very top of the cage to the mat, knowing that no one's going to catch you or nothing or anything. That alone like deserves credit. Fair enough. You can talk about Shane jumping off buildings and stuff like that, but that aside, like just doing that alone. But then because with Shane, he's landing on his back, kind of on a like I want to say paddock surfaces, something like that.
Different, yeah.
But Kurt Angle, he like literally. Kurt Angle's moonsault wasn't like a Lita moonsault or like most people where they kind of like a falling backflip. Yeah. Kurt Angle's one was that he dives up and then
catches
still drops.
Yeah.
So when you watch him do that moonsault, he didn't like fall off the cage, fall backwards. He like jumps up and then he falls, and he fell flat, like just flat.
It's annoying because it's one of the greatest moonsaults ever, but they will never replay on WWE TV. It's annoying.
Yeah, and it's crazy because you're right. Because Cody did something similar on AEW recently. Yeah. He's actually done it on Raw as well when him and Goldust won the tag titles of New Jack Jones. But he did it on AEW. But yeah, the difference is he's got that guy, especially a big guy, catching him. Whereas Angle just bareback the ring, bro. Like he just
he did like he literally just like flat on that ring. You're just like, oh,
and he bounced. He was just like that. He was, it was
right.
Beautiful.
Major gun buck, man.
It was like a moment, but yeah. So for me, that's my thing for Kurt Angle. I'm gonna go with
fair.
Those eras.
Okay. What about you, Rad? What about your favorite moment?
Favorite moment of all time. I really thought the feud with Baron Corbin was just. And I'm joking.
And that's it, everybody.
Nah, I'm playing. He's just been an all-rounder his whole career, but obviously his earlier stuff, you know, back in his hair days, was really impressive. I loved it when he was being a heel with Austin back in the comical days with the Alliance and stuff, or just before the Alliance, kind of. Milkamania, that was cool. Yes, everything that he did with Benoit was epic. And anytime he had matches with Mysterio, a lot of his mic work, man. Just he was just so he was such a different person back then. He was so smooth. It's almost like what he is now is not the same.
Yeah, it's true.
I feel like he was so irritating then, and that's why it worked. He made you hate him.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
I don't know if a lot of people like this gimmick that I'm about to say. I don't know if I loved it, but I like the intensity of it. The whole wrestling machine.
Yeah. He was a killer machine.
Wasn't the biggest fan of it because they even changed up his theme and everything. But in terms of just wrestling, yeah it was cool, man. He had
so you talking about like the kind of the end of it, like when he was
just
on,
before he left.
And stuff.
Yeah. I was thinking, okay. So that sort of time was a bit hazy for me because that was the time when literally wrestling was only on Sky Sports. So I didn't have Sky Sports. I only had Sky One. So my exposure to WWE in those days was minimal. So Wrestling Machine Angle, I remember it, but I can't like say it was
badass.
A standout era. You get what I mean?
Yeah. It was badass. My ones, it's so many, but I would say his feuds when he was actually his whole SmackDown tenure when he had feuds with Edge. There was a crazy ladder match that he had. His feud with him and Lesnar was fucking epic. Angle and Lesnar.
Did some Eddie stuff then as well, didn't he?
Say again?
He did some stuff with Eddie around them times as well, didn't he?
Stuff with Eddie. Yeah. That was when it was the power. What was it? The Big Four or the Big Six?
Six. Edge, Angle, Chavo, Eddie, Benoit, and Mysterio. Who was the sixth person?
Mysterio.
Edge, Chavo, Eddie.
Yeah.
Benoit.
Yeah.
Angle. Who was the sixth person?
Was it Mysterio?
I don't think it was Mysterio.
Yeah. I don't think so.
Was it Rhino? No.
I was Mysterio.
It must be Mysterio then.
Yeah. He was a big person there back then. I would say it was Or is it the top 5? I don't know. It's not a big 5 or top, but if it was
definitely 6, SmackDown 6. I remember that.
Maybe Taker.
SmackDown 6.
Or Batista. They had numerous, but that for me, if you said that list, that's my top 6 into SmackDown. I used to like. I was excited whenever they were on TV. But yeah,
right.
That around that time, just before he left, during his first run, that was my favorite time because he had just memorable feuds. Yeah, Edge, Mysterio, John Cena as well when he used to feud with Cena. Yeah, so. Yeah, those were
oh my god, when he came out rapping on SmackDown,
that was hilarious.
Cringe. And the worst thing is that what's so cringe about watching it now is that I get that back in the day, for some reason, I really hated John Cena in the Thugonomics era. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, he was a heel technically, though, for the most part. Then
he was, but in the same time, like I've never been high on the white boy rapper. I never have. Like, regardless of what it is, or I've never been high on that. Mind you, though, I'm not gonna lie, I was a fan of Eminem, but growing up, whatever. But in terms of wrestling, or whenever you see it on TV and stuff like that, it always felt very forced. But with John Cena, I didn't really care for him, although he was coming up, and yeah, WWE made me like him when he turned face at Survivor Series, whatever. I gave in, but yeah, in those kind of times, so when Kurt Angle come to the ring, and then he had the battle rap or whatever, but he's wearing the Olympic tracksuit, and then he had his was it a visor or something like that to the side?
Yeah.
And then he said the corniest line. I'm just like, oh god, and that was like
that's the whole thing. Remember when he did that thing with Shawn Michaels?
And that's the thing. It's technically it's gold on TV, but it's so cringe watching it back now. Like, oh my god. It's just
that was all part of the thing. Like I said, when he mimicked Shawn Michaels' thing with how can
we not talk about that? That was amazing.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Corny and that was a genuinely good feud that I actually thought up until the point where they just recently put a doc about it, that it was kind of forgotten. They don't really talk about that feud.
The last time I saw him talk about it was when he was doing his Hall of Fame speech. And it's it's a hidden gem, that 110%. I don't know why they don't talk about it.
I just thought of a memory that was so funny. It was when he came out to the ring and his music was playing and they started chanting "You suck," and then he just went on this huge tirade about how it's unfair that people say that to him. He's there for his wife and kids, blah blah blah, and he practically quit and he went backstage and he switched to Bischoff. Bischoff says, "Don't worry, we'll get it under control," and then he came back out. And they censored it. For years I've tried to find that clip and I can't find it, but literally the beep every time, and I was just like, you got Joey Styles in the background just switching, getting vexed at the situation. Yeah, that was a funny time as well, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
So again, a character that give him something and he'll make it into gold.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely. 110%. All right.
Who's next, man?
Next one was Rusev. My favorite, I'll just jump into this. My favorite was when he first he got in and he was running right in the Rumble. It was his first Rumble and he completely just obliterated everyone. And they made him look like a total badass. I think it was the same one that Roman Reigns won, and everyone was throwing in the WWE Network.
That was CM Punk giving him advice. Remember?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That to be honest, that's probably his strongest moment up until he lost to Cena at Mania. But yeah, that's my favorite moment of Rusev.
Rusev on the tank.
Rusev, yeah, badass entrance.
That's my only memory of. See, I wouldn't even have gone as far to say it was racist because his character was that he was the Bulgarian brute. So it's just I love that entrance. I love the fact that it incorporated Lana into it. Just that whole Rusev and Lana era. I'm here for it. Yeah. But then anything after that or anything post that and stuff like that, I think for me the real downfall of Rusev as a character. Fair enough, he kind of picked back up around Rusev Day, but my real downfall for him was when they first teased that whole thing of him and of Dolph Ziggler and Lana or whatever.
When
They did that. They were trying
married.
to do like a triangle then.
Yeah.
And then they kind of tried to bring in Summer Rae, and then mid storyline, like Lana and Rusev got engaged, and this was like, oh my god, here we go.
Yeah, I blame Lana on that.
It was just like,
that was Lana's fault because she posted it on social media, so they were just like, oh, all right, well, just make the most of it now all of a sudden because like they were deep into that storyline. So you gotta blame Lana for that one. She fucked up on that. They could have easily went kayfabe on that, and then she just ruined it.
Right. So
I think that probably from then on that probably penalized Rusev for till
100%.
now. So, yeah. But go.
For me, Rusev, great moments all around through his career, but I actually really enjoyed his time with Aiden English during 100%. Rusev Day, especially the
Aiden English is another release.
Yeah, we'll talk about him as well. But his the segments with the New Day, for example, because there was a lot of inside stuff there where he would just, it's almost like he almost wasn't bothered anymore, and that's what made it funny. He would be dressed up as Santa Claus and then take the thing that, hey, it's me, Rusev. just stupid stuff, but it was just, to me, that was when, all right, okay, this guy's funny. He's got a personality. And yeah, it's cool, man. They had that storyline where it looked like Lana was potentially cheating with Aiden and stuff, and it looked like it was going somewhere, and then it just kind of went, it had potential to be a big, kind of like the whole Mandy Rose Otis thing. It could have been something like that, and it was at one point. What happened with that? Were there like secret cameras in the hotel room and something like that?
Some madness, yeah. She went to someone else's room or something like that.
I'm getting that confused with when Mandy was in a hotel and Naomi beat her up in the hotel room. That's completely different. That happened as well, right?
That was Aiden English one was One Night in Milwaukee. That was it.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
But then it turned out to be that she was asking him about something to do with Rusev or something to do with something else. It's just like it was a dumb storyline.
It was fucking stupid, man. It was just absolutely stupid. And
they were just such an over team. They should have kept them together.
Yeah, but they were just pissed.
Was hot.
They were just pissed that it wasn't their creation. And like I said, I think ever since that thing that happened with Lana and she announced the marriage, Vince didn't want any part to do with Rusev because he tried his hardest to kill off that thing. But the fans kept it alive, tried to keep it alive, and then look what happened.
Rusev Day.
Yeah, the Rusev Day thing. That was
Lana
not meant
Day.
to go over. That was meant to be a one-time thing. And then they just killed it. Just because it wasn't
they took off the logos, everything. There was no reference to it.
Why? You're low on superstar star power. Why not build that? Take advantage of that. And that's what fans do. If they find someone that they like and they put them over, then why don't you run with the wave? But that's WWE, man. No, that's Vince, I should say.
Who's next?
His next one was Drake Maverick. I honestly don't have any memories. The only memory I remember was him pissing himself.
Oh God! Or him wanting to consummate his marriage. With the 24/7 title or something.
Yeah. That's probably his biggest moment, to be fair.
Yeah, the 24/7 championship, right? Yeah, it was hilarious, but it ran its course. And his wife though.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, next one, Zack Ryder.
WrestleMania.
When he won him
winning the title at WrestleMania was sweet, man. Well deserved.
Yeah, it was that, and there was a good ladder match. I remember when Kevin Owens got killed in the ladder. I think someone did. I think it was Sami Zayn. He did
Sami Zayn threw him back.
Yeah, it was a great ladder match. That was.
And see, my thing for that one is that it was literally because that was the opening match of Mania that year. It was, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
It was still daylight.
Yeah, and it was that thing where when you're watching the match, during the entrances, my little brother brought up the when the bleachers do that thing where they tell you if you're gonna bet on the matches, then it tells you who everyone's odds are and the favorable odds of who's gonna win and stuff. And Zayn, Owens, and Miz were the favorites to win or whatever. So it's me being the Ziggler mark that I am, I was like, oh, I think Dolph Ziggler's probably gonna take it or whatever. I think Dolph Ziggler was in that match. But I marked Dolph Ziggler, so I was like, okay, then so he'll probably get the moment, he'll probably take it. And then when you had Miz on the ladder and whatnot, and then just at that point, Miz is on the ladder, and then he's climbing up, and everyone goes, Zack Ryder's gonna win. And I was like, Zack Ryder is like hasn't been in this match for how many minutes now? Like,
exactly.
Where did that come from? Exactly. And he's like, Zack Ryder's gonna win, and I'm like, I was kind of like really shocked by it, like really kind of just like shut up, like whatever, we'll just keep moving. And then what you know, like Zack Ryder runs up, pushes Miz down, and then he's up there, and then everyone, the whole crowd just pops, and then it's just like, oh my god! And it was like, yeah, see, he knew it. And there's like, so how do you bet on Zack Ryder if he was old enough to have bet at the time? He would have been minted. Because Zack Ryder had no odds in that match to win. So had you bet on him, you would have been like minted just from that match alone. Forget the rest of Mania, just that match alone, you would have made bank.
Yeah, that was a decent highlight. Highlight for Zack. I was just happy for him anytime it was relevant on TV, because even though he pretty much was on the losing side, like with the stuff with Kane and John Cena and Eve Torres, but it's such a likable character, and obviously he built himself from, like you said, from YouTube basically, and
internet champion.
Yeah, the internet champion, and he did that. WWE had no affiliation with that. It was to the point where they were just so pissed it wasn't their creation. They told him to stop it. So it's freaking ridiculous. I don't really have a specific favorite moment from him. Probably I would say the same with WrestleMania as well. That was his biggest crowning moment, really. What about you, Rise? Do you have a big memory of him?
Same. WrestleMania winning the IC title, definitely probably the biggest, best moment.
Funnily enough, he has had like 3 moments. So yeah, he had the title. He had Eve Torres kicking him, and then he won the titles last year. So he's had moments at WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah,
but just me, the IC title one, because that's like a crowning moment, and it was like almost a redemption moment, because I think it was that thing of he hadn't been on TV for like a year until he won the match to be in that Intercontinental title match, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, so it was kind of like I remember him doing that whole thing where he kept being on social media like, he still hasn't had a match on Raw in like a year, or he hasn't done this, or he hasn't done that. And I think it was going into that match, or was it after that? I don't remember. Yeah. But if it was going into that WrestleMania, then kudos. If not, then it was like, it made him relevant again for a hot day. So,
Yeah. There was another moment that actually that I remember that I thought was really cool. It was after a certain pay-per-view, possibly a Night of Champions or something, where basically all the good guys won. Like Punk was WWE champion, Bryan was heavyweight champion, and Zack Ryder was, I think, US champion, or one of the mid-card titles. And all 3 of them were in the ring at Raw. And like at that time, that was like when those guys shouldn't have been champion. Like they're the indie darlings, and it was just a good moment. Like the crowd was hot on Raw. Like that's how Raw started that night. And you had CM Punk, Bryan, and Ryder all in the ring holding their titles. That was epic. So that was also a very cool moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair
Next.
I'm not gonna bother with Kurt Hawkins. I'm not gonna lie. Next one is
Hawkins. Did he even have moments? I don't know.
I just remember him from the Edgeheads.
No.
And he just kept getting squashed anytime. That was about it. I don't really care for him.
I have a memory of him, like it's not a good memory for him. And it's like he had a match on SmackDown with Ziggler, and he did the most talking on the mic. And then the bell rang. Ziggler hit him with the dirtiest super kick and just won the match.
Right. That was Kurt Hawkins' gimmick.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
He was a talker,
and then
he
was
come
like
out and
22.
lose.
Like he had some low. It was just ridiculous, and I think he has a lot. He currently holds the longest losing streak in WWE history. I think it was like 600 matches, including house shows as well. It's insane. So I mean, he has the accolade. I don't know who's gonna beat him, because I didn't think anyone.
His moniker at one point was he was the highest paid jobber.
Yeah. That's another one. Yeah.
Crap. So that's your moniker. Then it's like
Yeah.
It just is what it is. Yeah.
Next one is I guess Bullet Club. Sorry, the Club. Sorry. Gallows.
I can't really think of anything that they've done that's really kind of like. I mean, you can say them winning that trophy or that best tag team thing, but I didn't watch that match, so I can't.
Their best run was basically what they had with AJ. Anytime they were affiliated with AJ, that was their best stuff. When they split, it was terrible. The stuff with New Day was terrible. Their tag team run was terrible. This best tag team in the world thing was terrible. Just Anything when it was just with actually the OC basically. That was I would say that's their anything with them was the crowning moment. I would say.
But then the unfortunate thing about the club, and I'm going to say this, is that I feel like the only time they really seemed relevant is when WWE put them with their collective leader, if that makes sense. So like they kind of came in as being like affiliated with AJ in the very beginning, and then when they when they went to Raw, I think they were briefly with Finn Balor, if you remember that, and then they were kind of considered relevant again, and they were like Finn, and they were like Balor Club or Finn Balor's Club, wherever it was, and then they kind of disappeared, and then I think did they go to SmackDown or whatever to do the feud with New Day, or was that?
No, that was Raw.
Was that in between?
That was fucking. That was Raw mainly.
When was the time? When was the time when they were like?
Segment was on Raw. I remember that. So yeah, it was on Raw.
What was the stuff
they did go to SmackDown and they might have feuded with them again, but in terms of their proper feud where they had backstage segments, that was all Raw, man. Mm-hmm. There's your variety.
And that's when they were like wearing like lab coats and they were calling. And they had,
let's not talk about that one, man.
So then, it's kind of they just went for like a kind of hazy phase, and then they kind of came back again to be around AJ when like Luke Gallows started wearing the face paint and stuff, and it's like they seemed cool again, and then to kind of just I mean, I can't really think of any like crowning moments. I mean, I think they've been tag team champions, right?
Yeah. I've been 2-time tag team champions.
I don't even remember when they won them. I can't think of what was the match. How did they win?
I can't remember. I just remember when they lost them. So yeah.
And this is like no disrespect to the OC and whatnot. Like I am a fan. I just can't think of their tag team.
It's just down to how they were used, man.
I think anytime they won them, it was on Raw. That's what I know. It wasn't like on the pay-per-view, so that's why it was just whatever. And they always lost it at the pay-per-view. So.
And you know what? I will say that I agree. Like the club was definitely one of the biggest shockers for me in terms of the releases because of their relevancy. But in saying that, no disrespect, I can't think of a monumental club moment like in terms of Carl and Luke. No shade to them. It's just down to how they were booked.
Yeah.
And you're right. Whenever they were paired with an AJ or a Finn, that's when they were more relevant, especially with AJ. It's unfortunate. No big main moment for me.
Yeah,
I can remember.
And it's a real shame because they could have took us like Bullet Club was one of the biggest factions since NWO, and they could have used that and implement that into because that's what they were built up when they first debuted. I can't remember who they took out when they first debuted, but they could have done so much with that, but they chose not to. So hopefully hopefully they get to go back to New Japan and that's where they belong basically. So next up, I'm going to skip a couple of these because Heath Slater. Now, my crowning moment, it was bad for him, but for me, the best memorable moment for him was when he actually had an interaction with Brock Lesnar, and he told him, "I got kids," and then Brock Lesnar
that was a big moment. That was a big moment.
Shit about your kids. So that was.
I thought things were gonna get serious for him. Yeah. And I was like, okay. He was really fighting for that job.
Oh my god, I think I remember that.
And Brock spoke like flipping out, like I remember that.
Was that in that like brief little period when it was like the draft had happened, but then Slater was considered a free agent, or he was looking for a job? Like,
he was looking for a job. Yeah.
So that was just literally like maybe like 2 or 3 shows before the I Got Kids thing came up.
That's where it came from. The I Got Kids thing was from that segment.
Right. Okay. I'm thinking because I think I remember that. Yeah.
That was a good time. There's a few like the thing is my memories of Heath are like obviously so small in comparison to like Kurt Angle's moments or whatever. Nothing is huge, but just for me, just moments that made me chuckle or whatever. Like he's just, I remember there was this time. Remember Adam Rose and he had the flipping bunny.
Yeah.
And Heath was teaming with what's his name, Titus, for a period of time.
Yeah.
Titus was in a match with Adam Rose, and Heath tried to get involved. And the bunny, who people say was Sami Zayn at the time, did the dirtiest kick on the rope and just kicked him out. And the commentator just sold it. And he was a good seller, man. Like he took moves madly. Moments. I don't know, man. All the backstage segments where something mad happened to him.
Yeah.
He never won any singles titles, unfortunately.
No.
I was a big fan of multiple time tag team champion. So
yeah, he was. I was a big fan of the 3MB stuff.
Ugh. I actually wasn't. I'm not gonna lie, I was not.
Yeah, to me it was like, sometimes they do comical stuff that's cheesy and just toilet humor, and then they do comical stuff that's clearly bad, but bad on purpose to the point where, okay, it's funny. And all three of them played their part to a T, man. Like, if you proper look at it. But yeah, okay, big moment. Him and Rhino winning the tag team titles.
Yeah,
that's
probably
it. Like, that was a big moment because that was one of the more serious times. Fair enough, he was still a jokey character, but he was in the mid card as opposed to hardly being used. You know what I mean? He was relevant. So
yeah, agreed.
That was a cool moment.
He was doing like a Legends thing at one point, if I recall.
Yeah, all the Legends beat him up.
Yeah. No, but he was doing that like week after week. Yeah, he was doing it where each week was it like a Legends challenge or an Open challenge or something that he was doing, and then the Legend would come out, and then it just the combination was that Raw 100 or Raw 1000 or whatever it was, and that's when he fought Lita. She was the final one, and then all the Legends came out basically, like JBL, Vader, like all these people came out and whatnot.
Yeah, I remember that.
But like Lita was his final match, and she won.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the APA were there to help her. Yeah. I remember he had a match with Vader. Yeah, Rikishi came back, flipping out. 3MB versus Rikishi and Too Cool happened as well at one point.
Yes.
There was a couple moments. The funny thing is, one of my memories of him is right through that whole run where every week he'd call a legend out, and then the last one he had all the legends beat him up. The next week was Raw 1. The week after Raw 1000, 1001.
Yeah,
and he said, "Now that all the legends have gone, who's actually gonna fight me?" And it was Randy Orton's return. When I don't know if you remember when Randy Orton had a mohawk for like one night, and he came out and just destroyed him, man. Dirty RKO out of nowhere. Like, yeah, it was good, man.
I actually don't remember that, but I have to go back and watch that now.
Okay,
just to hear that pop.
Yeah, it was huge, man. Huge for Randy as well. But yeah.
Okay. So the next one was in terms of relevancy.
In terms of relevancy, yikes.
Well, Eric Young, there's nothing much besides his sanity thing, and none of you guys really. I assume you didn't really. I know Rise didn't see his sanity run, and then after that it was an afterthought. So that's why I'm just skipping him. And even during the
the only thing I ever saw him do on the main roster was get beat up by Seth Rollins backstage.
Yeah, yes.
That was literally the only thing I saw him do on Raw.
Yeah.
And this was when I was actually watching.
Yeah.
So the thing is that he didn't even debut on Raw. He debuted on SmackDown as Sanity. They ran a couple of vignettes. I think they literally had maybe 2 or 3 matches with the New Day.
Yeah.
Or something like that. They didn't do anything memorable.
And they went to a pay-per-view and they had a tables match, but I didn't watch it. I think it was on a pre-show. So the fact that they had a big tables match on a pre-show means they didn't rate it. They didn't take it seriously.
Right.
Yeah.
Then he got traded over to Raw in secret fashion. And then, like I said, Seth was trying to get... Whoever Seth was feuding with was trying to get someone to be a referee.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was.
Baron Corbin. That was it. He was like, you're going to be the
and Seth just...
Yeah.
beat him with a chair.
Yeah, pretty much. It was, they just...
Like I said, I've seen him have good matches on main event, but...
See, the fact that you've even seen him on main event, that's like, I didn't even know he was wrestling there.
Yeah.
It's like so bad.
It's so
well,
Rowan, I just remember him mainly for... See, everyone hates on the Bludgeon Brothers. I actually didn't mind him. I think it was he had a better run than what he did any time with the Wyatt family. So, and out of all the gimmicks that he's been given, the Bludgeon Brothers is pretty much the strongest one. When you think about
it, but I'm kind of thinking Bludgeon Brothers as the Bludgeon Brothers didn't do anything for Harper or Rowan. Like Harper or Rowan,
got a huge push though.
They got what? Sorry,
they had a huge push. The only reason they got stopped because one of them got injured.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, as the Bludgeon Brothers, it's almost like, how can I put it? So they were Wyatt family before. Then it was like this random period where it was just Harper and... Was it like Harper and Rowan like after the Wyatt family? Because Bray Wyatt was on Raw, but they were like... But they were like... They kind of just...
Stars as well.
Yeah, but then even as single stars, nothing was really happening. Then they kind of went away.
Yeah.
Then they kind of got repackaged as the Bludgeon Brothers. And then, I think Harper got injured.
Yeah.
And then Rowan came back with Daniel Bryan.
Yes.
But if I recall, I think I remember him coming back with Daniel Bryan. He didn't get a pop or anything, but yet when Harper returned, he got the pop.
Yeah, because everyone was just like, "Oh yeah, shit, I forgot about him." Everyone forgot about Harper because he was off TV for a long time. So it wasn't because it was a pop, because it was that we're happy to see him. I think people were just, "Oh shit, he still works here." Like that was to me anyway, because I was the same.
Yeah, fully. But then nothing even came of that.
Nothing came out of that. That was a short lived, just to keep him, just to make use of him until his contract ran out, and then
but I guess what you could say for Harper Eric Rowan, the moment, I guess I'm gonna say I'm happy that he had a singles match at WrestleMania. It just wasn't a long one, but he had one.
Wait, you don't talk about when he got squashed by The Rock?
Yeah,
I mean, that was when I believed he was a certified wasteman. I thought you are the worst person in the family of the Wyatts. I'm not going to take you seriously anymore. You are a wasteman. But I'll be real though.
Said, it's a moment, so that's what I'm getting.
Dead moment. Absolutely dead moment.
Look,
Rock spent about 20 minutes lighting his name on fire and took about 10 seconds to beat him up in a match. You're disrespecting the thing. But what I will say though is, the thing is, I get what Robert's saying in the sense that when he was teaming with Luke as the Wyatt family compared to the Bludgeon Brothers had more of the push. They actually won the title. I get that. But in terms of match quality, both the same. If you go back and watch the Wyatts, as in Luke and Rowan versus the Usos, the show. Like, literally, don't matter even if they're on a pre-show, it's better than the whole pay-per-view. I'm telling you,
great matches.
Win or lose, those tag team matches were
them
epic.
Against the Shield?
When they were the Blood...
Them against the Shield was a fucking epic.
Wyatts versus Shield,
yes. Now, when they turned to the Bludgeon Brothers, they had similar great matches with the New Day as well.
Yeah.
I will never forget Rowan, I think it was Rowan or Luke, one of them, literally picking up the announce table chair and throwing it at Kofi. Just like picking up a whole chair, boom, throwing it. Like, yeah, they had some really intense tag team matches. So as a tag team, solid. Again, just like the club though, they weren't used properly. So, when the Wyatt family initially broke up and they kind of started going their own way, and Rowan had his own theme music that I was digging, and he stepped up to the Big Show. I thought, oh, okay, yeah, I'm for this. Went nowhere. Absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So.
Right, so.
Fair enough. Did I say I have a moment? I don't really have a moment of him. No, Bludgeon Brothers, yeah, that was my moment. Fair enough.
It's not him and the spider, is it? So.
God, moving
that was
swiftly
so
on.
Dumb.
Sarah Logan, I don't know.
Anyway. Oh my God, her you was there. Her at WrestleMania. That was a good moment for her.
What the fuck did she do at Mania? Remind me.
In the Battle Royal, she was almost going to be the winner until Carmelo came in.
Oh,
but the crowd was so behind her for that.
I didn't even watch it. I was in the concession stand. I remember I saw it on one of the screens. Like, yeah, Sarah Logan. I wonder what happened.
Well, what it was at WrestleMania, she did that. She had a let's go with the Batista Royal Rumble when it was down to Batista and Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
And the crowd turned on Batista and basically were so, we want Roman Reigns to win. Yeah. And then in this Battle Royal was that thing where Sarah Logan was just going like beast mode for the final moments of that Battle Royal. But then I think she eliminated, I can't remember who she eliminated, but she eliminated someone and it came down to the final four, final three. And the crowd were getting behind Sarah Logan like they really were. And when she eliminated the final two people, she eliminated them both at the same time. The crowd went crazy for her. And then she's in the middle of the ring and she's like, doing her Viking war, whatever, and the crowd went mad, and then when Carmella came in the ring, that's when everyone was like, boo, Carmella won. It was like, ugh.
Yeah, I remember that. I definitely remember hearing that. Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, as I said, that's so for me, it has to be that, I guess. I mean, I can't think of any, like,
everything else, she was on the losing edge. She got choked up by Shayna. She got taken out by Shayna. She was part of this dumbass Riot Squad feud. And other than that, yeah, I remember she botched a couple things with Dana Brooke. Like, it's mainly in the negative light that she had memorable things and more than positive.
Oh yeah, she bloodied Dana Brooke in the match, and she needed her against the ring post. Yikes.
Yeah, it took her out, boy.
Yeah, she meant to be like hidden potential and someone that you really look out for, but she's there like injuring people. Like, I mean, I can't blame her for that because maybe they never moved. I don't know. Maybe she just didn't realize she was that.
Yeah,
there could be so many factors into that, but either way, you're meant to be hidden potential, and then you bloody someone mid match. I mean,
exactly.
But yeah, so that's going to be my moment. Her at WrestleMania, it was feel good. I was writing for her at that point because I thought, okay, they're going to go somewhere with this. They never did. So
okay. Fair enough. Next up is the Canellises. I for a brief time during the 24/7 championship, that was actually my favorite part of the that 24/7 championship when Maria was treating Mike like shit, and she actually won. She became the first pregnant woman to win a title. That was to me that was hilarious. And then Mike came. He waited until they went to do the checkup, and he actually pinned her while her legs were wide spread open in the freaking, I don't know what, the chair.
Stirrups, I want to say.
Huh?
Are they called like stirrups or something? When you're getting like your antenatal checks or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah, one of those things where the normal checkups, and he pinned her and became champion. So that was, in my opinion, the only crowning moment for him anyway. In terms of Maria, I think her first one was more memorable. Because she was that ditzy, silly girl that interviews the wrestlers backstage. And she played that role well, So yeah, I would say those are crowning moments. What about you guys?
I'm gonna say that their debut at Money in the Bank. Other than that,
Jesus
I couldn't tell you what else they did.
Really? Oh God. Okay, fair enough.
their debut at Money in the Bank, because it was that thing where some music just played, you know what it was. I think I was actually with you guys. I think we were watching it at Tavern Brand. Yeah. And it's like the music played, and the arena goes black, and you don't know what it is or who it was.
Yeah.
And then just the screen just said Mike and Maria, and it was like, oh! And then they come out, and it's just like power of love and all this stuff. It was cheesy, it was corny, but it was like I was a fan of them in the indies and stuff. So when they come to WWE, it was just like to get that indie superstar that's now mainstream pop and whatnot, and because they got a pop that night. So for me, that was like, okay, that was that. And then it kind of just like went nowhere on SmackDown. I mean, they kind of just really fell off. So instantly. I just kind of, it just has to, yeah.
What about you,
had to see that one.
What about you, Rides?
None.
None. That's why he was quiet. So how my face was when you guys were talking about Silent last time, that was him this time. Like, he was just quiet, just like.
I'll keep it real. I actually was going to mention the debut, but the reason why I was going to remember it is because when their music did hit and they came out, I was like, who is this? And I just remember Rob being, they don't like this normally. They don't like this. They weren't like this in the indies. Rob was coming to their defense.
It was true, man. Because they were like a force to be reckoned with at Ring of Honor. They were like, they were a dominant team in New Japan as well. Maria was one. She was one of the biggest teams. And, I can't remember who was feuding with Bullet Club at the time, but she was on like up there. So when they did this absolute cringy, typical WWE stuff, I was like, trust me.
But they got a pop, so it was over in that moment.
I think it was over because of their name, just not part of the gimmick. That's why they got a pop.
Mike and Maria, you're like, yes,
yeah, of course,
yes.
Yeah. That's why. But anyway, I think there's potential for them elsewhere, 110%. I think Maria's pregnant, isn't she? So she's out.
Again?
Yeah, she is. I think that's why. I think she was actually pregnant. I thought that was actual thing. They were faking it, but yeah. Anyway, next one's EC3.
Memorable moments. The NXT ladder match.
Yeah.
He took that bump from Killian Dane. Like, he was under the ladder. On the mat, and Killian Dane did that. Like, he fell back with someone on him on the ladder on top of EC3. It was like that moment still to this day. I watched that match the other day. It made me cringe. I'm just like, you just imagine like his chest took all of that. So you took the weight of Killian Dane. Was it Killian Dane and Ricochet, or Killian Dane and someone else on top of a ladder onto EC3? It's just like his whole rib cage could have shattered everything, but he took that bump, and he took that with his like him just taking that bump was just like, yeah, that was good for me. And he continued the match afterwards as well, so he wasn't even hurt. He was, maybe the adrenaline was getting to him, so he was like just flying with it. But just that bump alone is like, oof. But yeah, that's my crowning moment for him.
Agreed. My one, I got two. Definitely anything during his NXT run. He was great on the mic, had good matches, taken away way too early. And just that one entrance that he did where he just came out and he just gave up. He was doing this normal entrance. He was just like, yeah, EC3, that's my name. All right, let's go. Let's get this match on. That looked like it. I don't know if that was a work or a
When
shoot.
was that?
It was on main event. Funny enough, I'm sure it was on main event Superstars. I'll send you the link later. But he just looked like he didn't give a fuck. You've seen that, haven't you, Yusuf?
I remember you showed it to me.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
just very lackluster. Just
very lackluster. He did not care.
And it looked genuine. It didn't look like that was like character. It looked like he
just gave
genuinely
up.
wanted to clock out.
Wow. I need to see that now.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it. I'll send it to it.
Was it how recent are we talking? Was that?
Oh, that's like late last year. Yeah, it was shortly after he came to the main roster. Definitely, like during that time, because he's been on the main roster for quite a while. So I think it was like late last year it happened. I'm sure it was either on Superstars or main event. He did it on, but is Superstars even on anymore?
No, I think it's the main event.
Main event then it must have been main event. But yeah, I'll send it to you. Next one is Lio Rush.
My favorite Lio Rush moment was him winning the Cruiserweight Championship.
Yeah,
I think I watched that match at yours.
Yes.
No, I think I'd seen it already and rewatched it with you. But just a really good match, a really good win, and I could tell that was like the restart of Lio Rush. It wasn't Lashley. It wasn't that kind of just got obliterated. And this was had a new look. His hair's grown out. It was just that frog splash, sweet man.
And then he got kicked in the face by Aleister Black.
What?
Did he?
And then he got kicked in the face by Aleister Black, like literally like last week on Raw.
Lio Rush?
Aleister Black? No, he wasn't on Raw last week.
Wasn't he the guy the guy in yellow?
No, that's not him. Kicked? That's some jobber. I know you're talking about because Aleister Black was his face in jobbers. That was not Alice. That was not Lio Rush. He was not on.
But Lio Rush was the one that posted it.
I'm sure he did, but why would he?
Someone posted it, and I thought it was Lio Rush.
No, I can assure you because I'm
okay. My bad.
I've been watching Raw. That was not Lio Rush. It was just some random guy had long similar hair to Lio Rush.
And we're in the yellow in the same sort of outfit, so I thought it was Lio Rush, and I was like, oh damn.
Maybe that's why he posted it.
I was like, oh damn, like I thought, oh damn, like Lio Rush is like getting the Ricochet treatment now, just like thrown out and stuff, but.
Yeah, I'm looking on YouTube right now. The last time they faced each other was on NXT, but that was not him. Yeah, that was about 2 years ago. So yeah, fair enough. Lio Rush winning the NXT Cruiserweight Championship was good. Obviously, I put in when he did a video for me as well. That's also a crowning moment. That's pretty cool.
Right.
He was very short-lived. I think he had so much potential to probably be one of the faces of NXT, to be honest. But yeah, I would say him winning the NXT Cruiserweight Championship for sure. Do you have one, Rides?
For Lio Rush?
Yeah.
Yeah, just like I said it already. Just him winning the Cruiserweight Championship.
Yeah, man. Yeah, sorry. Fair enough. Okay, cool. Just wrapping up now. Primo and Epico.
Listen, okay, so I like them as personalities. I think they're cool. I think their theme is cool. I liked it because I remember Epico debuting because he joined up with Hunico. Primo's been there from day. I remember him with Carlito and stuff. They've been always great workers. They're that kind of funny where it's like, again, they've been given dog poop and know what to do with it. So like the whole gimmick when they're trying to get people to travel to the Caribbeans, like, was dumb, but it's so cheesy and dumb. They make it funny, like they just make it work. But again, they didn't really do anything. The most major times were when they were paired up with don't tell me her name. Menda, Menda Roses or something.
Oh, Rosa Mendes.
Rosa
Mendes, and because they actually won the titles back then, like they were relevant. Unfortunately, once they got rid of that gimmick where they were doing the timeshare stuff, and then they came back as just Epico and Primo. They did nothing.
Yeah.
They came back. I think they came back and attacked someone on SmackDown. Either the New Day or the Usos. They attacked a prominent tag team.
It was
nothing happened.
Yeah, nothing happened. You're right.
Yeah.
That was...
Yeah, they were like the Shining Stars. Was that
No, the Shining Stars was the selling thing gimmick, and then they just came back as Epico and Primo. No gimmick. They were just wrestlers. You know,
I think one of them got injured. I think.
Are we gone?
I think one of them got injured shortly after, and then one of them. I think one of them was this tag team with like doing random tag teams, and then
so that's the thing. I think in addition to all of that, it might not just be down to bad booking. It might also be them not being happy, because I know there was talk about them wanting to do contract negotiations or leave as well. Yeah. And I know WWE kind of made a deal where they can kind of compete. I think their father's promotion or something like that.
WWC.
Yeah. So, which, I mean, although, unless you know your stuff, you probably don't know about that promotion. I think they would probably be more happy there.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll get to hook back up with Carlito, their father, if he's still alive, I think. But I just think they had so much potential, man. Like them, you had the Sin Cara guy or Hunico, whatever you want to call him, Mystico. They could have done some huge stable, man. They could have done some real huge Latin America type of stable thing. And I know Ryan's gonna like flip and say no to this, but it could have worked. It could have worked. It could have been a big heel faction, but.
Well, what I was going to say is, like, so if you're talking about Epico and Primo moments, are we including their Los Matadores gimmick?
Oh, for flip's sake, I forgot about that. For the longest time, I'll be very real with you. I didn't know it was them.
Wow.
And you know why? I'll tell you exactly why. Because when they debuted, for the first few months of them having a run, Epico and Primo were still listed as WWE superstars.
Oh.
They were, yes, they were.
Right. So I didn't realize. I don't even know how I came to the realization, but I did not know. But yeah, I suppose if you
they got given different names, didn't they? Wasn't it Diego and something else?
They did change the name. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they did have good matches. Weren't they in a ladder match or something at one point? Or am I making that up?
They were in a ladder match. I believe they were in the first. They were in the tag team elimination chamber match.
Yes.
Yeah, they did something.
Yeah, they had a decent push.
Oh, no, I'm thinking they were at TLC against Freddie and Hornswoggle. And
yeah, with the little people, sorry.
The little bull versus Hornswoggle, it was like a thing.
I swear the actual tag team were in a ladder match.
Yeah, they were. They had a decent push, that's what I'm saying. They had that one, and then obviously they had a slight feud with 3MB, and then, with the Hornswoggle and stuff. So they were mid-card. They had a mid-card push. They weren't some that's... They were
over. They were over with the kids, merchandise,
100%. Even though I hated them, but they were over.
You hated Los Matadores.
Oh yeah, they were not special.
Los Matadores.
But that was during the really corny, hokey part of WWE. There was a part. It was like cringe time for WWE, 110%. But yeah, fair enough. That's that's for the most part. That's the list. So.
I was surprised that when I saw the production list and you realize just how many people are still there. I didn't realize that Billy Kidman was still a thing, or still on the production team.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's a long time. He's been there for a minute. There's a lot.
But as you guys know, I stand Billy Kidman in his cruiserweight days. I mean, I didn't kind of like the era when he was going through the whole shooting star English people. And then whenever he would hit it, the person would start coughing up blood or whatever. Like in those kind of days, I wasn't digging him then, but I digged him in the early days. I digged him when he changed his theme to like rap song or whatever. Yeah. I dug him when he was teaming with Rey Mysterio and he had cut his hair short. Like, I just dug his whole run and whatnot. But then towards the end there, I just wasn't really feeling it. I'm not gonna lie.
Fair enough. Yeah. I could agree with that. Yeah, he was a certified badass, definitely a legend in the.
Finley left as well, which is such a shame.
Finley, Lance Storm just shut his school down just to actually come and work for WWE, only to get flipping cut.
4 months.
4 months. Flipping ridiculous.
They Bischoffed him.
There was the Bischoff. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. 110%.
Oh, because you're saying, are you talking about the Bischoff's last run, as in when he was meant to be running SmackDown or something like that?
Yeah, Bischoff's run was about 4 seconds as well. So,
Yeah, 110%. There was Shane Helms, aka the Hurricane. There was one
Another
lady.
one I didn't realize was still working for WWE.
There was the lady that actually she worked on the Otis and Mandy Rose storyline. She was just finished with it. The name is she's got some. It's like a lengthy name.
Deanna Perez or
No, she's a wrestler. She's a wrestler. She's in NXT. She got squashed by Asuka a couple weeks, literally about a week or so ago. But yeah, she got cut. Yeah, I need to get her name. But 2 seconds. Yeah, so Lance Storm, Shane Helms, Sarah Stock, I think that was her. Scott Armstrong, that he was the dodgy referee that he worked with the Authority, didn't he?
Yeah.
Kidman, Finley, Pat Buck, I don't know who he is, and Sean Daivari.
Daivari.
Yeah, Daivari. Flipping Bray Wyatt's dad got cut. IRS.
Wow, didn't know that. I didn't know he was there.
Yeah, he was there. Mike Rotunda.
Is Sean's brother still there?
Sean, who's Sean?
Michaels.
Sean Daivari.
Oh.
Yeah, Daivari.
He has a brother on 205.
Iris Daivari.
No, Daivari is Sean Daivari. Yeah, the one that we know. That used to come up.
No, Sean Daivari is the original Daivari, like Muhammad Hassan Daivari.
Yeah. Well, you mean
Iris
Daivari
is the one who's on 205 Live.
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah.
He's still there.
Yeah, that's what I was asking because that's his brother.
Oh yeah. Sorry, slight confusion.
But, I didn't actually know Sean Daivari was a producer. I know he came back for one of the Saudi pay-per-views once.
Yeah. They all sluts because they used to be at TNA and it was him, Sanjay Dutt, and I think it was
Sanjay Dutt.
It was a badass.
Is that the guy the translator for Kali?
No,
I know you're talking about. But I know you're talking. No,
he was a writer for Raw. He was like the head writer for Raw at one point.
Yes, he was. He had like long hair, like a bowl cut kind of thing, didn't he?
Yeah, I know you're on about. Yeah. So remember how I was saying earlier when you mentioned a superstar, but you can't remember their name. And that's how it has I am with Drake with Maverick, and now you mentioned this guy for Cardi. He's like, oh, what was his name?
Yeah. Whatever. I can remember.
That is gonna irritate me now.
But for the most part,
right.
these guys are probably those producers. They haven't been cut; they've just been furloughed. But even that isn't secure. Apparently, they could.
Finley said that he had. Well, Finley wrote the Finley and Lance Storm. They wrote. They took to social media to write that they'd been fired.
Yeah.
Or like they'd been let go. So I think they're ones that you can guarantee are not going to be still there for now.
Kurt Angle said the same as well because right now he's actually listed as a producer, not a wrestler. Because I thought the reason they cut him because he was still under a wrestler contract, but I think they actually changed it to a producer. So, but he's also
he got cut as in-ring talent, and he's now a producer. Is that what you're saying?
I think if that was the case, he wouldn't have been on that list.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so he's actually.
I think
cut.
He's cut.
Just at the time, before he got cut, he was actually a producer. But
so don't be surprised if Kurt Angle goes back to Impact not in the next few weeks, but in general, if he gets back in Impact.
If they can afford him, because Impact they ain't as hot as they used to be now. Remember, they've cut. They're not as serious as what they used to be. They're flipping stream on Twitch now. They're not even. They're not really considered big leagues anymore. So,
yeah, but then you got to remember, like, Angle had a very, very good run in TNA / Impact, so it's still kind of.
But this is a different Impact. This is a different Impact. This ain't how it used to be. This ain't. He was under Dixie Carter's TNA Impact. This is like some random Impact.
I think if these guys are going anywhere, it's AEW, obviously. Man.
I think the big ones are. Yeah, I would say Revival, Rusev. Probably Leo Rush as well. Maybe
EC3.
Yeah, EC3 as well. Yeah, I would say.
But my thing is, I really don't want people to assume that just because these guys are WWE guys, that they'll be used better or have better runs in AEW. Because the way it kind of seems is that one thing I don't want the AEW to become is basically what TNA was at one point, and basically everyone from their roster was an ex-WWE guy. Do you know what I mean?
No, I get that. Yeah.
So it just feels like you'd be just watching another WWE show.
Yeah.
It's like at least I think what AEW have that's different is they've got some, I guess, known names in AEW now, but it's not they're not lousy with WWE talent.
No, I get that. Yeah, we not now, but another time we got to talk about that when like is the AEW going to be turning into the new WWE? But we'll talk about that in another because I got a good, interesting question regarding that. But yeah, regarding that, yeah. So it's a sad day for all these wrestlers, but it's hard trying times. But yeah, we just hope that there will be light at the end of the bridge. End of the bridge, end of the tunnel.
Yes. Okay. I didn't want to be that person that's going to be like, you mean tunnel? But you know,
it's hard trying times, but yeah, it is what it is, and yeah, it's a bright future for every one of them, and hopefully, yeah, they'll land on their feet eventually once the whole world gets to a sense of normalcy.
For sure. Well, you never know. Maybe when all of this is over, they'll be right back.
Yeah, exactly. Anything's possible. Yeah, it's just not at this time. So let's just hope that maybe there might be a change of heart. There might not be that many more releases, if any, from now on. But until then, just fingers crossed. And then, yeah, if there is any more releases, be sure there will be another video coming out soon for that.
Right.
But yeah. Anyway, yeah, we've pretty much come to the end of the show. And thoughts on the releases. Thank you guys, Mr. Rhymes and Big Man Rides, for joining this conversation. Sorry if I kept you away from your dinners. But
you guys saw I was eating mine.
Fair enough. I'm gonna get
eating mine while
we were. Heard it as well.
Huh?
Oh yeah, I can't help this mic. This mic picks up everything. I'm sorry about that, people. But, I'm just there, like. It was sat here for the longest. I'm just like, I didn't want to eat it. I was like, okay,
this is like literally meant to be about 20-30 minutes, but every episode we do this is like 5 hours later. So it can never. It's
don't worry, we'll get there one day. We'll understand the how to do a small episode one day.
Yeah, eventually we need to do that. But anyway. Thank you very much, guys. And on that note, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. If you ever noticed, I just hit 5,000 subscribers on this channel. So thank you guys for tuning in and making sure you get all the news and gossip and watch 3 black guys talk about wrestling. What better thing to do in this crazy time that we are in right now? So yeah, like I said, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. This has been Take It to the Table. I have been your host, Chaos. Until next time, guys. Peace.